Want to tell a story? Do you want to tell a speech? Do you want to stand up and talk to people, tell them a story, or tell them something they really need to hear? If you do, then all you gotta do is tell them three things. All you gotta do is have an outline. First, you want to tell them what you're going to tell them. Number two, tell them what you said you were going to tell them. And number three, tell them what you told them. So number one, tell them what you're gonna tell them. Number two, tell them what you said you were going to tell them. And number three, tell them what you already said you were going to tell them. Number one, you tell them what you're going to tell them. That is a hook. That is a grabber. It's a attention getter. It's an icebreaker. Once upon a time, I had a nickname. People would call me the icebreaker at a camp that I would work at. I was the icebreaker because I wanted to get people to start talking, to open up, to open their mouth. Because usually people are more closed off from talking, from being open. They're closed, like a closed store. So you want to tell them what you're going to tell them. You want to tell them it, and then you want to tell them what you already told them. At the end, you tell them the conclusion, the moral to the story, the thesis. So it starts out with the grabber, and you tell them what you're going to talk about in the speech, in the presentation. You tell them, hello, today I'm going to talk about apples. That's number one. Because apples taste good. And then number two, talk about apples. Alright, I will talk about apples now. I said that I was going to talk about apples. Now I'm going to talk about apples. Apples are red. Sometimes apples are green. Apples grow out of the ground from trees. Apples grow off trees. Trees come out of the ground. Apples don't grow in the ground, but the trees come out of the ground from a seed. Sometimes there are worms inside apples. That's number two. First, you tell them what you're going to say, what you are going to talk about. Apples. It's a fruit. It's delicious. Number two, then you talk about that. You talk about what you're going to talk about. Apples. You start talking about apples. Number three, then you tell them what you said. Again, to wrap things up in conclusion. You make some kind of thesis. You wrap things up. You close the door. And you say, thank you for listening. I was talking about apples. Because apples are great. And if you eat apples, it will make you feel better. Or wetter. Apples is like a dog. An apple a day will keep the doctor away. An apple a day will keep the teacher away. An apple is like a dog. An apple is a man's best friend until you eat it up.